This is the Big Agnes Lost Ranger 3-in-1 sleeping bag. We've done loads of sleeping bags on this channel, but this has got to be one of the most interesting. I've got so many cool things to tell you about it. So many of you may already know the Rapid SL, which is this pad we've got at the bottom of this sleeping bag from Big Agnes. It's our best-selling pad. It's got the brilliant combination of warmth to weight and packability, but the main thing is it's super, super comfy. It's not the lightest thing on the market, but I actually think this whole setup is more about versatility and comfort and enjoying camping in the wilderness. I feel like the Lost Ranger 3-in-1 continues that story. So this is not the lightest thing in the market, but I do think it's probably the most versatile. Because let's be honest, we like to camp all year round, whether it's in the winter, summer, spring, whatever. What you can do, have loads of different sleeping bags so you're just right. The whole point of this 3-in-1 is we've got an outer and an inner, and you can use them together or on their own, and you can really create the perfect temperature for you and the time of year. So first things first, just a few stats and then I'll get onto the really cool features. It's got a 20 denier recycled polyester fabrics all over it, which feels really comfy on the bits that you'll be lying straight on, and gives you enough weatherproofing with a PFAS-free DWR that if you're getting drip down condensation in the tent, it can cope with it absolutely fine. The down they've used inside is their 650 down tech. So that down is hydrophobic and again can cope with moisture better than normal down. So those of you who understand down ratings, that's not the highest down going, but that's kind of the whole point in this bag. It is not the lightest in the market and all that sort of thing. What it's done is made a really, really good sleep system that performs brilliantly, but also keeping it at a cost that's really affordable and you can then use year round. So roughly the whole lot weighs in at 1.2 kilograms, obviously not the lightest on the market. The outer bag on its own is 700 grams-ish. The inner bag is 500 grams in it, but combined 1.2, you've got a lot of versatility and loads of comfort. Must admit, I'm sort of struggling to tell you all about this in what order, because there's so many cool features and loads of versatility. So as you can see, it's 3 different systems. You've got a really lightweight inner bag that can be used on its own, and they reckon you're absolutely fine in that sort of around 4 degrees. I mean, let's be honest, take it with a pinch of salt, depending on whether it's really cold and humid and things like that. But that could be really easily taken on its own, ultralight adventures, particularly throughout the summer. Now, I'll come back to that, because let's be honest, you're going to start using this system just like this. So the fun bit is probably the outer bag, let's be honest. So they reckon on its own, this could be used to 10 degrees. Now, again, I reckon it could be warmer, colder, whatever. But the whole point is it's really comfy and it's really clever what's happened here, because essentially, it's a quilt. So it's not just a quilt though, because quilts do slide off in the night, particularly if you put them over the top of another sleeping bag like the inner, really slidey things. They do just disappear and then you've lost all the warmth. So the whole point is the bottom connects really nicely to your pad, which it connects to lots and lots of pads. This is a Rapid SL, as I said, really comfy, really light. And it connects around the back with their padlock system. So when attaching the outer bag to the pad with their padlock system, it was pretty easy and it'll fit loads of different pads. But essentially I slid one end in and then the other end in, and you sort of, before you pull it too tight, I find it best to do this middle sort of pinch point here, all nice and relaxed, and then pull everything snug afterwards. Try to make sure that the upper bit where the pillow goes sort of stays around the other side, because you could drag it over and then your pillow might slide off. Once pulled tight, it seems to be really secure. There's no moving around while sleeping in there, and it fits, like I say, loads of different pads. So do double check that it'll work with yours, but it's most likely going to. It's also what they call a pillow barn here, which is really nice. You can put your own pillow in there or just shove jumpers and things and it'll just stay in place. It won't slide off in the night. And as you can see here, you get 2 anti-snag zips both sides of the quilt, sleeping bag, whatever we're going to call this. What's really nice about that is when you're moving around at night and you're sometimes shuffling about, if you've got a normal sleeping bag, quite often I'll roll over again, and you wake up and you've actually got the hood on top of your face and you can't see anything. This holds everything nicely in place, and so you can shuffle around as much as you want, you know everything's where it's meant to be. So the outer bag is rectangular, which makes it incredibly comfy. You feel like you're sleeping in your own bed at home, but you're out in the hills. And that works really well, of course, with the Rapid SL, which is rectangular too. So I've already mentioned both sides have got this full length anti-snag zip, but also they're 2-way, so you can actually vent your feet as well. Same on both sides. So again, so much versatility. Another really simple little feature which I absolutely love are these hand corner pockets here. So when you're in your bag, you can get your hand in there and snuggle it right in, so you're really wrapping it around your shoulders and you feel like you're literally in your quilt at home. So moving on to the inner bag, same again, we've got that 650 down, that 20 denier recycled polyester, which makes it feel really nice and plush and comfy to be in. Like I say, you can easily use that on its own. Now this has got a really cool feature. It's derived from their Sidewinder bag, which they won awards for. Because let's be honest, nearly all of us are side sleepers. So you can see the clever hood configuration here, which more fits your head than the other one. And so if you are sleeping on your side, of course, it feels really nice and comfortable for that. The zips are much thinner. They're not the big chunky anti-snag zips, because again, you might use this for more lightweight adventures, but they are two-way zips, so you can do both sides. Again, vent your feet, and same at the top. So a really cool bag to use in its own right, and it feels really, really comfy to be in. And do bear in mind, of course, you could actually use any sleeping bag you want as your inner bag to boost the system or make it even cooler. So again, loads of versatility. Then things get really interesting when you combine the lot. So of course you can use the inner on its own, the outer on its own, but when you combine them, you can go down to, they reckon, around -9. This is where the real versatility happens, because if you're too cold with just the outer or just the inner, but too hot with them combined, there's loads of different options, aren't there? So you could just put the whole quilt on top of you without doing the sides up. Of course, there'll be a bit more ventilation and the air can escape much easier, so you won't be quite as hot. Zip them all the way up for maximum warmth and making sure there's no drafts all night. You could just vent the feet, you can do one side, you could do the inner on its own. I mean, there's so many different options. I literally reckon you can go from sort of +10 to -9 and every increment in between with a really light packable system. And I'm honest, it's really cool, it's really fun, it's comfy, and it works really well. So all in all, an affordable, incredibly comfortable, really, really versatile sleep system that can take you from 10 degrees to 4 degrees to -9 degrees Celsius, and everywhere in between with all the ventilation options and comfort options you can think of. So I hope you find that useful. We've got loads of videos on all camping gear and clothing and climbing equipment on our YouTube channel, so do consider subscribing. If you want to check it out on our website, please do so, Outside.co.uk. Or if you do get a chance, come in the shop. I love the fact that people get in our sleeping bags in the shop, test them out, check the comfort, see if it fits them well, and just see if they like it.